Good morning from Edmonton, everyone. It's Anika Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, I thought I would talk about an important concept that this mind at least feels is very useful for us to remember in terms of history and how we've evolved over time, or perhaps devolved. So, if we can look at our history, we can look at how our minds have been affected, or how our minds affect the world around us too. And I thought I'd start with a quotation that would have been from a source that was written, I don't know, 5 to 10,000 years ago are the estimates. And it's possible that this information, even before being written down, was just practiced. And so I thought I'd start with this. So this quotation says, "Openness to new ideas is manifest in the Rig Veda. Let noble thoughts come to us from all sides." I love that. Let noble thoughts come to us from all sides. And so the Rig Veda talks about this, and or has written about this, and we can see that the farther back we go in terms of scriptural writing, it's very much about an accepting all, welcoming all, being hospitable to all, being loving, being compassionate, being caring for all, as opposed to let's limit it to these people. And we can see that in whether religion or spirituality, but let's focus on religion. Religion often moves into a space of this is better than that. So there's a lot more comparison. In spirituality, it's kind of this is, period. So this is the way this group looks at this. And usually with the awareness of, am I being kind to this group, was the beginning. And then eventually it was, is that group being kind to me? And we can see that this happens from an individual perspective too, that if I choose to be kind to someone, it will just happen spontaneously. That is the divine energy in me. It just happens spontaneously. And then if I'm kind for a little bit longer, if I know the person a little bit longer, eventually it's like, well, are they even being kind to me? So you see how the mind can shift, that I was doing something just kindly, period. It's my nature. And now I want something out of it. And I feel that, or this mind feels, that religion and spirituality has moved in these directions too. And I'll say specifically religion. So it became, let's treat everyone compassionately. And then it was like, wait, what are you doing for me? And are you my religion? Or that sort of idea. And when we look at the highest level of the mind, the highest level of the mind is a space we can call the intellect. And the intellect has reason and judgment. It's, well, but they don't wash their hands. They don't take off their shoes when they come into my home. Anything, the mind will start looking at what's not right. Either blaming another if this is what you're not doing, or blaming the self of, maybe I should do that. And rather than just saying that this is good, this is a divine nature that someone is presenting, that the universe is presenting, that God is presenting to my experience, how can I learn best from it? Do I learn that, well, I feel like I can be more compassionate, or I'm happy with how compassionate I can be, or how kind I can be? Or do I start thinking that that person is very kind, let me be kind too? Both ways are fantastic. But what we've moved into in terms of mind thinking is much more of, that person's not doing something right and I am doing something right, and that's ego space. And this idea also is something that's easy to remember. Many of you know that I used to practice and teach laughter yoga regularly, and people who have known me for some length of time know how much I love laughing, and I do. And I believe that everyone does. I think that laughter is just such an easy expression, and it's not that fake laughter. Authentic laughter. It's that heartfelt, that hearty laughter, that easy laughter, that comfortable laughter, that anyone can feel that lightness of laughter. And what happens when we are growing into our minds, and of course I say growing because the ego believes that it is growing. So when we look at the intellect space, it feels like, oh, look how much smarter I am. And that's how we've often gauged ourselves, that I'm smarter, I know this much information, I've done this many things, I've created so many different things, I've got this many friends, and we certainly know this by social media these days. And yet, the space that is pure perfection is just perfect as it is. And so what happened is suddenly we needed more friends, more followers, more stuff, all of that to feel like I'm good. I bring it back to religion. And when we look at, so whether we look at Vedic scripture, and we look at whether Buddhism or Hinduism, anything from that sort, I'll say Vedanta in general, so that covers even, I would say, Jainists also look at a lot of Sanskrit scripture. And you know that most of our religions today also started from that space. So the space of pureness would start from that space, just like naturopathic medicine might be the space that a lot of modern Western medicines have started from too. Let's look at how we look at God or spirit or source. Sometimes we say that God made us in the image of, we'll say, himself or itself. And so when we think of that, that we have this divine energy that is the same as the divine energy from God. And you know that in Vedic scripture, there's this great line that I talk about regularly. It's a Sanskrit term, so it's Tattvam Asi, of you are that. So when we start doing that, which is beautiful, so I aspire to be like that. And then we move into, or have I made God in the image of me, right? So when we look at this, it's God is judgmental. It's like, yeah, I have judgment. Oh boy, you know, this is right and this is not right. God is punishing. It's like if someone doesn't speak right to me, I'm definitely not speaking to them. So let's recognize that. Are we trying to have the godlike properties in us that we do actually carry naturally, or are we trying to be the highest of our human selves, which is very judgmental? And we can recognize this, and then we give that's what's going to happen. You know, when we pass away, God is going to be like that, because it's the highest that we can think of in this mind. So today I wanted to remind us, I come back to laughter now, that when we are in that lightest space, and we can think of angel space, so angelic space, it's light, it's floating, it's easy, it's loving, it's compassionate, it's giving. All of that space, we can call it a heavenly space. It's light and laughable. Like, it's laughable that, oh wow, I can see humans and how they behave is so funny. Or it's laughable as it's just so lovely to be in that light space. It's so wonderful. And you know that when someone feels really good and they're laughing, it's a wonderful experience, either for ourselves to actually be in that space, or even to see someone else, which is why laughter yoga definitely ended up being such a useful tool for me to share with clients, because this is something that's portable. This is something that we can do every day. So I thought I would share this next quotation too. This says, at the height of laughter, the universe is flung into a kaleidoscope of new possibilities. At the height of laughter. Now imagine, at the height of laughter, do we sometimes think that God must be laughing at us? Yes. And do we sometimes think that, wow, when I'm the happiest, it's the lightest, and suddenly I see all these opportunities that I never even thought about before? Yeah, we do that too. So that is a divine energy flowing through us. And then finally, I wanted to talk about this last quotation because it very much matches some of the messages from various scripture. And it is about having this joyful base that we do have. And many people, you will look around and notice it, and maybe start with ourselves, that are we joyful? And joy is one of our natural states. So this quotation is the one that I wanted to end with. And it says, in deep conscious involvement with everything around you, there is no entanglement. There is just joy. No entanglement, just joy. Because if I'm really light and someone says anything and I don't necessarily agree with it, I can just look at it and say, wow, that's what's coming from that person. I don't take it personally, that I can't believe they said that to me, or why won't they say this to me, or why can't I go here, or, you know, all of my personal concerns that are about the little me become very minor. It's just like, wow, okay, so this is the concern I'm working with right now, and it's light when we're in that light space, and that's where the joy comes. But many of us have become very serious and have made it almost our life purpose to be serious about things, not only about ourselves, but others too, and be serious about the things that are important and meaningful, and be the person that is loving and compassionate and generous and easy, and be the angel energy, that divine energy that is part of you, whether you think in terms of Tattvam Asi, or whether you think of you are a part of, or a blessing that God has brought into this world, how will you show us that you're going to be a blessing for us? Let's all be a blessing to each other. Let's work from joy and love and compassion, and let's laugh our way into health. Have a fantastic day ahead, and remember, transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day, everyone.